I am on the south side, which will be really the main entrance of the new student resource building. So we're going to walk in and just do a tour of the facilities and kind of show you where things are and are going to be in the facility. So there'll be two sets of double doors right here. Folks will enter. This is the riser room where all the mechanical things will be for the sprinkler system. This room right here will be our bookstore, and there'll be a glass door right here, and in that will be the bookstore. The other side of that is Jamie's office. So it's where the librarian's office will be, so you can hopefully see through there will be the door into her office from the library, which is over there. So that's her office, much larger than the office she has now. So again, we're back to that south door. And so when you come in the south door, the first thing on your right will be the small prayer chapel. So this room will basically be set up like a small country church building. So you'll have pews, we've got a pulpit that Alexander Campbell preached from, and it'll be in here. And so it'll be laid out as a place for people to come and pray. It's where students can do campus devotionals in here. You'll have some old pews in here. It's also a place where students can come and practice their sermons. But that's this small chapel, and then you've got the entrance I just came through, and then there will be a door that goes into our larger chapel. So this is where the main chapel will be. You can see there's two windows in front of this building, or the front of this chapel. Those will be stained glass, and this window will be stained glass. And this is where we will have chapel. When we have our daily chapels, it will be in this large room. It'll have a vaulted ceiling. It goes from 12 feet up to 15.7 at its peak. But again, this is where we'll do chapel. We'll have lots of events and activities in here. We often have events on campus, and we don't need a room like our main auditorium that holds 350 or 400. Often it's 100 people and down, so this will get used for that a lot. Now, right next door here to the small prayer chapel is what is going to be our media center. And so you've got two rooms, and this room is going to be where the actual recording work is done, whether it's audio recording, video recording, podcast, or recording students doing lessons. For example, when I teach homiletics, I have the campus students come over here and we do audio recording time sermons where they've got to hit a mark, and to train them, for example, if they're recording things for the radio, etc. But then also they do video sermons where we get them behind a podium and they do a video recording. You can record audio podcasts, video podcasts. A lot of things will happen in this room. And so we set it up so that there's a window. I think we're going to try to make it a one-way window such that when guests come to visit, they can actually look in while the recording is happening. And then you can see there's a room next door to it. That's going to be the office and control room where our director of media marketing and recording will sit. And so the entrance into that will be right here. And so he'll have the monitor equipment and his desk and all that in here. And so he'll be able to sit here and see into that room and control the audio, video, lighting, all that kind of stuff. He can do that from this side of that window, can close off the door so that you keep sound from getting into that room. And then this window looks into the auditorium because he will run all of the audio, visual equipment and so forth. He'll run it from his office / control room. And so this allows him to see into the auditorium. This will open up so that if he needs to hand mics and things like that, through, he can do that without having to go out of his office and walk around. And there's where the main entrance will be into the auditorium. And so, for example, if you can see through there, our admissions offices are right over there in that building, so they can come in on this east side and go straight into the auditorium. So again, this is the media area. This room right here is our history and rarities room. And so you can see the layout of the history and rarities room. So there'll be rare books, there'll be school history, church history, just all kinds of things will be in this area. And so you'll actually come in the entrance I came in. That door there will really be mostly just an emergency exit. We'll try to encourage everybody to come in through the door I came in. And so you'll have items displayed here in this main room, and then you can loop around to the other side and there'll be additional items displayed, you know, in this area. Again, church history, school history, rare old Bibles, rare books. You know, we've got books 400 and 500 years old. We think this is going to be, you know, really amazing. It'll be one of the main highlights of this building. All right, so there on the left, that was the history and rarities room. And so you've got this walkway. Straight ahead is a north entrance. And so like when faculty, staff, and students are coming from the main building in classes or their offices to chapel, that's the door they'll come in. The main entrance for guests they'll be coming in from behind me. And so you've got the second of the media room, kind of the media office control room. In the middle, you have the recording room, and then that far room is going to be the small prayer chapel. So what you've got here is you've got the restrooms, and so you've got an entrance. You'll have a men's and women's restroom, and you can see the entrance is there. And this is just where all the piping and so forth will be. So this is the eastern entrance. Again, that is towards the admissions offices over there in the Coyle Center. And then, so you will come in from there. If you are coming from their offices, you would come in and enter into what will be our main chapel in this building. That's how you'll enter into this room. The stage will be up there between those two windows, which will be stained glass windows. As we turn back down this hallway, on the right you've got offices, on the left you've got storage, restroom, etc. So you're going to have a maintenance closet right here, and so it'll have a sink for cleaning, washing things. It'll go back in that corner, but this is just a maintenance closet. You've got a family bathroom here, so if you've got a mom or dad and they need to do a diaper change with their child, they have somewhere private they can bring them for that. And then you've got a storage room and a faculty lounge, and I'll talk more about those in just a moment. So let me back up. You've got offices. So when you come in that eastern entrance, you've got offices, and it could be storage all down through this area. So initially, all of these rooms that have windows, they'll be assigned to people, probably faculty. We're still deciding on, we've got two rooms along this side. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rooms down through here, and then you've got a corner room. And 2 of them do not have windows. So we may use those for offices. We also may use them for storage. So for example, we would like to have a storage room where we could store tables and chairs that are not necessarily being used in the auditorium. So like when we have events where we need to clear things out, it'd be nice to have somewhere to store that. So we may use this room as a storage room, especially for tables and chairs that will be used in the chapel room, because it's going to be kind of multi-purpose, the big chapel will be. And so in the rooms where you have windows, there'll be probably faculty in those. And you may end up with faculty or employees in some of these rooms with no windows, but we're thinking maybe this might be storage, and have somebody in here. And we may set up this small room where you can record classes that you're going to post. And so we may set this one up. with screens and recording equipment, so somebody could come in here, a faculty member could come in here by himself or herself and could do a recording that's going to be uploaded for students, say on a week when they're traveling, or for asynchronous students, etc. But it also could end up being used as a office. One of the things we wanted to do is to build in rooms and facilities that had potential, so that as we had needs and opportunities, we had the facilities to do it. In this corner, you've got it will be the largest office over in this section, large corner office, and I think Nathan has some plans on who might be in this room. And then you've got 3 more offices down this side. And so our Vice President of Academics is laying out who he wants over here, because I think the decision was made that this would mostly be academics and faculty over here by the library. So again, that's coming out of your chapel. I'm looking south, and right here you have the entrance into, right here you have the entrance into the faculty lounge. So you've got a storage room right here off the faculty lounge, but this will also be used for donor meetings and for prospective student meetings. So if you are taking a donor on a tour of this facility and it's raining and you don't want to walk back over to the Bible building, then you have somewhere to come and sit down and have a conversation. But also right now, there's not really a lounge anywhere where faculty can sit and talk. Like if they want to have a conversation, often they're standing in the hall to have those conversations. So we're excited about having a little lounge here. And then this will be a kitchenette. So you're going to have a door on this side and a door on that side. And there'll be a table here and a fridge and that kind of stuff, because a lot of the folks who work over here, we have meals over in the other building Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but we don't on Monday and Friday. So a lot of people bring their food, and so they have somewhere to sit around and eat. But also this, you're going to have coffee maker and stuff over here. So if you're over here in your teachers and teachers lounge, they can walk into this room and get them some coffee, etc. If you're meeting with a donor, you can walk over here and get them a water or whatever they want. And then also we've got a conference room right over there, and we envision maybe our board having meetings over there. And if you're catering something for lunch over there, then this gives you a staging place, for the food to take it right across hall over to that area. So walking out of that, here's the north entrance. And so when our faculty and staff come across to this building, they'll come here. There'll be a set of steps coming down there and into this building. And so right here you have the IT control room for all of the wiring it's necessarily for that. This will be a big storage area connected to the library. So right there at that corner, there'll be a wall coming across, and then there'll be an entrance from that side. That's the library area down there. And then right next to the IT room, we've got a very large conference room. And so again, this can be used for all kinds of purposes, but we especially think it could be valuable for board meetings and other meetings on campus, faculty staff meetings, etc. For example, our existing conference room in the other building we often use for faculty staff meetings, and so there'll be probably 2 D10 monitors in here, because that we just need that if it's going to be used for those purposes. Sometimes we have folks who join meetings who need to do it by Zoom, and it can also be used for teaching. We wanted a facility that had options that we could use when opportunities arise. So I'm going to walk back out of here. And so you've got offices there on the left. You've got a kitchenette there. You've got the emergency entrance, or actually exit, for the history and rarities room. And then you've got the hallway that goes over to the south entrance. And then, I've already showed you where the chapel, media room, etc. are. I'm going to do one quick view out this area, and then I'm going to take you into the library, and we'll do a tour of the library. But when people are coming up Helton Drive, have a lot of folks who come up Helton Drive there, and they're going to be looking at this building. We're going to have an additional entrance right down there. And so this is going to dominate the landscape when you're driving up Helton Drive. Everybody sees that this school is growing. So we're on the north side of the building. I'm standing in the library area. So back over there is going to be the entrance to the library. You've got a storage room right in there, and there'll be a door into it. And so that big room over there is the conference room. So next to it, we've got a room. What we tried to do with all of these rooms down through here is we wanted rooms that gave us, again, options. And so let me just kind of walk through some potential opportunities. So right here, this is a room that is big enough that it could be a small classroom. For example, maybe a distance learning classroom. It could be one where if you just have a few students that are online, or a few students that are in the classroom, but everybody else is pretty much online, you can do recordings in there as well. This is set up to be an office. So these can be used for all kinds of purposes, but this is set up as an office. This room is set aside as a classroom. Again, it could be turned into offices. You could have 2 desks in here, so there's lots of options, but it will be set up so that if we want to use it as a classroom, we can, and we'll put in the hookup, so if we want to put in flat screens, D10s, etc., we can. You got 2 rooms here that are going to be student study rooms. That's a plan right now. So this will probably be a private study room, and the students actually requested these 2 rooms. So you just have cubicles around the room, and they'll sit down and they can plug up and charge their computers and that kind of stuff and work quietly, so that if they go get a book off the shelf, and a lot of these they can check out, but like references and so forth, they're not supposed to leave the library, so they can go and get their book, and they can sit down here with their computer and read it, type their notes, and return it back to the shelves. And so right now we're thinking that's going to be the quiet study room. And then we're thinking right now this will be the group study room, so there'll be a large table they can sit around. Students talked about that sometimes they work together on projects, and sometimes the campus students work together on projects with off-campus students. And so they'll have a table where they can sit around the table together, but also on the wall, and I think we're still deciding what wall that's going to be on, but on the wall there will be a flat screen interactive D10 screen. And what that means is, they can project PowerPoints up there. They can literally project anything off their screens. It'll be set up as a Zoom room, so they can have Zoom conference calls with students who are off campus. It can actually, those D10 screens, you can turn them into whiteboards where you can actually draw on the whiteboards. You can then save it and send it as a PDF. All kinds of opportunities. So that's going to be in a lot of these rooms. But we'll have a screen in here so that they can work on projects together with those on campus and work on projects with those who are off campus. And then down in this corner, again, you have a large classroom. We'll have a couple of those interactive D10 boards down here, but that's set up so that they can function as a classroom. And you can see this is a pretty good sized room. And down here is the western entrance, and we made the entrance double door wide. So let me step back out into the opening outside of this room. And this is set up with double doors because when we're bringing books into the library, when we're moving shelving, etc., it will come through these doors. So let me walk out. Right there is student housing, Kerr dorm. And over there is the old library. So books, and there'll actually be a road that loops around the building and comes around this side off the parking lot and loops around to the new parking lot there on the south side. But when we're moving books, you're going to picture the trucks pulling up right here, and the books will be brought in through this opening. So we needed a double door opening to be able to bring those in. And then, here's your main library where the stacks will be. So it's just an amazing facility. We're grateful to God and some wonderful donors for making it possible, and can't wait to see how God's going to use it for His glory.